I have not talked yet about the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals here on Brandon's World. As of course, Tuesday we did our initial 2025 NFL predictions. And then on Thursday, for the first time ever on Brandon's World, I talked about the greatest reality show in the history of reality shows, known as Survivor 48. You check out those videos and those audio podcasts wherever you listen to the Brandon's World podcast. But let's talk about the New York Knicks, the Indiana Pacers, who would have thought out there in the East, and then the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves out there in the West. Of course, the Thunder are the only number one seed left, and history will tell you that basically the Thunder, the Knicks, the Pacers have a shot to win the NBA Finals, and that the Minnesota Timberwolves have a real long outside shot. And actually, history also tells us the Indiana Pacers have a real outside shot. I say this stat every time it comes up, but I'll say it one more time. In the NBA postseason, only two teams in history, the 1960 Boston Celtics with Bill Russell, who was a number four seed, and the 1995 Houston Rockets with Hakeem Olajuwon, who was a number six seed, have won the NBA championship. Other than that, every NBA champion in the history of the sport was either a one, two, or three seed. And when I take a look at, first of all, the Western Conference Finals here, I said that I thought the Thunder Nugget series, which did go seven, and I rightfully predicted that before the series started, and I predicted OKC to win that series in seven games. And they just took apart Denver in game seven, who after the first quarter, it just looked like Denver didn't show up. Nikola Jokic was really the only one scoring on the offensive end of the court. I thought that the Thunder solidified themselves as the 2025 NBA champions. And the more I watch game one and game two of the WCF, the more confident I feel about that prediction. Listen, Minnesota, they had an incredible story, right? Anthony Edwards and crew, they take down LeBron and Luca in the first round. Then they take down Golden State in round two. Even with Steph Curry missing the final four games with Jimmy Butler, Golden State just did not have a chance to win a game the rest of that series. But in this series, they're key role players, right? Dante DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Julius Randle outside of the first half of game one. They have not shown up. And, it's funny because Minnesota's been in these games in the first half, and Anthony Edwards hasn't really played great. And to be honest with you, SGA, who is now the MVP, as we all predicted he would. By the way, my preseason prediction this year was Thunder over Celtics. Obviously, I got the Eastern Conference wrong, but my prediction was Thunder over whoever uh, in the NBA Finals. And I said that the Thunder were going to win the NBA championship, that SGA was not only going to win regular season MVP, but he was going to win the finals MVP. And the Thunder have also won 68 games this year. If you include now the 10 wins that they have won 78 games they have won this year. Again, they had 14 losses in the regular season. In the postseason, they have had three losses. So in total, they have played 91 games. They are 78 and 13. They are historically great. They, I believe, have the third or fourth best record in the NBA history behind the 15-16 Warriors and obviously the 96 Bulls. Um, this team may not look that great on paper because they have one superstar in Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, though you could argue the way Denver did it with Nikola Jokic. Then they have, I think, a star upcoming in Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, but it's the different bodies that they can throw at you. The other Jalen Williams, Harvenstein, Alex Caruso, Kayvon Wallace, Lou Dort. And they're all not only great wing defenders with similar size, that is giving Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert, someone in this series, a lot of issues, but they are tenacious defensively and they know how to trap and swing over. So by the time you trap and Rudy Gobert or a Julius Randle like last series and Nikola Jokic gets the ball down low, SGA or Lou Dort or whoever will come from the side swipe a clean steal, and they go on an incredible run. And they have a very Golden State Warriors-esque run in them where it's like they don't play that well in the first half and they just blitz you in the second half and the third quarter of ball games. And by the time you look up in the fourth quarter, the game is essentially over. Um, Listen, I said this Thunder team was really young. Yes, they took their bumps last year against Dallas. It took them 6 games in the second round. It sort of felt like they needed to take one more bump. But I think this year they have been easily, as we see throughout this postseason, the best team in basketball. They're on a mission to prove something. And this is the Minnesota team that was a 6 seed that they are playing. This is not the Minnesota team that got hot and again dispatched the Lakers because they couldn't miss in that series. And they played really good, solid basketball in game three and game four and game five against Golden State to advance to this point. Obviously, tomorrow night, Saturday night, if Minnesota does not win, this series is over. I expect Minnesota to play their asses off, but it does feel like that even though Minnesota's role players have not played great in this series, Oklahoma City has more depth. And it does feel like to me that the Thunder are going to relatively take care of. I thought Minnesota would give them more of a fight. I thought they'd have to split the first 2 games here in OKC to give them a legit series. It feels like to me OKC in five, and I would favor OKC prohibitively against the winner of the Eastern Conference, who I'm sorry, you could call me a hater because I'm a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, but I still don't think the Indiana Pacers are that good. Yes, the Indiana Pacers came back Wednesday night. It was one of the most incredible basketball games I ever watched. I talked about this yesterday in my Survivor 48 recap. I had to stay up to 12:30 in the morning to finish Survivor because I couldn't take my eyes off of this Knicks Pacers game when it was 14 with 2:30 to go. I felt a little bit comfortable. Turned on, watched Survivor for a couple minutes, came back, and all of a sudden the Pacers were down by 9 with a minute left, and here come the Indiana Pacers. And listen, Aaron Neesmith was incredible. Did he go 6 for 6 in the fourth quarter from three? He absolutely did. Did Tyrese Halliburton make that incredible shot where he basically went driving in the lane, stepped backwards, and his toe was on the line, or we wouldn't even have needed overtime in that game? Yes, he did. The Indiana Pacers, did they do the same thing to the New York Knicks that they did to the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Milwaukee Bucks, except arguably on a harder scale? Yes, they did. But you cannot deny that Mikael Bridges misses a free throw. OG Anunoby misses a free throw. Or all of a sudden, a 3 point game balloons to a 5 point game. It's a 2 possession game. And in all of these comebacks, whether it's a Donovan Mitchell or an Evan Mobley missed free throw or a Giannis missed free throw, there is some luck involved in this because the Pacers have had to rely on multiple clutch missed free throws down the stretch. And yes, they were incredible shooting, over 70% in the fourth quarter and overtime. And yes, they did make the Eastern Conference Finals last year by defeating this New York Knicks team, but it did take 7 games. And Josh Hart was banged up, and Jalen Brunson was banged up, and they did not have Julius Randle. And at the time, Cat and Mikael Bridges were not on the team. And so everybody's all bandwagon on the Indiana Pacers, and they may have just broken the New York Knicks spirit, but I'll tell you what spirit they will not break if they do indeed get to the NBA Finals, and that is the Oklahoma City Thunder, because I think this Thunder team is unbeatable. I do not think the Indiana Pacers are a championship team. I think the Indiana Pacers are frauds. I think the Indiana Pacers are flash in a pan. At this point, I do not think Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar, but if he does make the NBA Finals, I think you'd have to consider putting him in that category because he would have knocked off Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, and Giannis Antetokounmpo to get to this point. But I go back to teams were what 1 and 1,000 and something in these scenarios where you're trailing by 9 with 1 minute to go, and the Indiana Pacers this postseason are 3-2. It does not make sense. At some point, this does feel like a lucky Butler Loyola of Chicago Cinderella-esque March Madness run that I think will end when they face the best team in the NBA in the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Knicks. They're a tough team, but we'll see how much. I mean, Tom Thibodeau has gotten these guys conditioned, but obviously they do have to slow down the pace. And I've said the one thing about the Knicks that worries me is I do think they rely a little bit too much on Jalen Brunson isolation basketball down the stretch. And we saw that on the last play in overtime when Brunson comes up with an air ball. And instead of, again, you're down three with 18 seconds left, you have time to go to the basket, get a quick two, and then either try to get a quick steal or foul. They set over the three air ball. They get the offensive rebound. They kick it back out to Cat, who should have drove to the basket instead of taking nearly a half court three. Air ball, game over. I'm sorry. Call me a hater all you want, Indiana Pacers fans. We're going to win the championship. I'll bet every dollar in my freaking bank account the Indiana Pacers aren't going to win the NBA championship because they're not that good of a basketball team. They've gotten lucky three straight times this has happened. And they may beat the Knicks now because the Knicks may be psychologically damaged. We'll see. I think it really depends on how the Knicks come out and play tonight in game two in the hallowed grounds of Madison Square Garden, which has never been a hallowed ground since I've been alive. Uh, I don't care who wins the Eastern Conference Finals. I think the games will be more entertaining, and that was some of the most entertaining. And that is a classic NBA game that will be played on NBA TV Classics forever. But these two teams are not as good as the eventual NBA champion, regular season MVP, finals MVP, one of the best guard seasons of all time, where only Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, and Bob freaking Cousy are the three guards who have won regular season MVP and finals MVP in the same exact season. I think SGA joins that list this year, a historic list. And I think the Thunder, they may go down in history in retro perspective years down the line as maybe a top five NBA team of all time if they do finish this off. You know, they finish Minnesota off in five and they finish the Knicks or Pacers off in four or five. This team, again, they had won 68 games in the regular season, add 16 games onto that, they would have won 84 games in the regular season. And if they have 14 losses in the regular season, let's say they have five losses, 84 and 19, that would be over 103 games that they essentially lost 19 times. So over 80% of the time they would win a basketball game. Think about it. And again, they may have one superstar who may be a free throw merchant, absolutely, and does get all the calls, but they go 9, 10, 11 deep. I have not seen a team this deep in the NBA in a long time, and you got to give credit to Sam Presti, the Oklahoma City general manager, for putting this team together. Like that clip from the Brand's World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brand's World podcast right here on YouTube.